Hi, and welcome to the iART Training Academy. I'm Barry Feynman, founder of the Institute and creator of the Scratch Be Gone technology, which you have signed up to learn. We are so very excited that you've chosen to join us to learn our proprietary technologies to enter an exciting and rewarding new career in metal refinishing. There are so many possibilities ahead for you and much to learn, so let's get started. During this course, we will address all the surface issues you will find when assessing and working on stainless steel elevator panels. We will introduce you to these 8 areas. We'll give you a brief introduction to stainless steel, its composition, its grade, the reference to gauge, and also its finishes. 5 typical types of scratch damage that you will be asked to address, everything from chemical staining to deep carved vandalism. We'll introduce you to our proprietary arsenal of tools, abrasives, and chemicals that we use to fix any challenge. We have not met a scratch we haven't been able to remove. We'll teach you the rules of the trade for working with stainless steel and safety around metal. We'll also introduce you to our scratch removal playbook. We'll do actual real-time demonstrations of resolving damage and removing scratches using the steps and tools as laid out in our playbook. You'll be able to see how quickly you'll be able to remove scratches and make money. We'll show you the 3-step finishing process after we remove the scratches. We'll answer all your questions and challenge back with mini quizzes to make sure you grasp the process and the content. Anyone who owns and is responsible for stainless steel will agree to one thing. Stainless is beautiful until it's scratched. And then what? Would you believe that there exists only a few dominant companies throughout the country who have dedicated themselves to refinishing of metals in the field? Most polishing companies are set up with bench services, which require the removal and transportation of damaged metals to a shop for possible refinishing and then returned. You can imagine the logistical nightmare of this scenario. You have to shut down the elevator cab for the duration, perhaps for days, secure the area from the public, contract an elevator professional at the going billing rate of $365 an hour to supervise removal and replacement. Wow, if I was a property manager, I'd be popping Valium right about now. Enter you, the iART certified stainless steel restoration professional. All you have to say is, I got this. And it's love at first sight. When you mention how much money you'll save that customer while you pocket a bunch. In this scenario, the money is less the issue to the client, rather the inconvenience and intrusion and the time you save her boss. Let's begin with a brief introduction to stainless steel. The composition. Stainless steel is an alloy of steel for structure, nickel for color, and chromium for self-protection. What makes stainless stainless is a process called passivation, where a chemical acid bath neutralizes the anion of iron, which results in rust. The longer and more thorough the passivation process, the better the resistance to rusting and surface T-staining. The color we see when admiring stainless steel is due to the nickel content. Perhaps the most important ingredient, though, in stainless steel is chromium mineral. Chromium stays fluid and active in stainless steel. When a surface damage occurs, the chromium, much like our body's white cells, flows to the damage and attempts to encapsulate the wound and protects it. The higher the chromium content in stainless steel, the more successful this is. Okay, let's talk about the grade. The most common grade of stainless steel found in elevators is called 304 stainless. 300 series stainless steel is also referred to non-magnetic stainless. An optional grade is called 430 stainless, which is not found in elevators, but is a member of the 400 series family. A magnet is your friend. A non-magnetic suggests that the passivation treatment removed the iron from the surface of the metal, and therefore a magnet will not stick, as this. Now let's talk about the gauge of the metal. Refers to the thickness and durability. Elevator stainless steel is rather thick, called 14 gauge, therefore very durable and resistant to scratching and denting. In contrast, appliances, say a refrigerator, is more like 22 to 24 gauge, very thin. Finishes. The most common reference to elevator finishes is brushed or number 4, as evidenced by fine lines running the length either vertically, going up and down doors, returns, bucks, and jambs, or horizontal grain, transom, or header. This finish is achieved when placing a raw piece of stainless steel under an abrasive drum and scoring lines into the surface. Hence, the grain pattern which we see is the equivalent of 1,000,000 scratches going in the same direction. This is not painted on or printed onto the metal, but rather it's integral with the metal. It's when one post-created scratch goes against the grain that we all get upset. Contrary, the high polished appearance like a mirror is called number 8, or mirror polish. Unlike the number 4 finish, any abrasive process to remediate scratches on number 8 will result in more scratch damage. Mirror polish requires high-speed polishing with compounds and rouges to achieve its luster. Now let's introduce you to the 6 typical types of surface damage that you will be asked to address. Everything from chemical stains to deep intentional vandalism. What you will learn to differentiate and assess are damages which are surface or topical and those that are fingernail grabbing. Damage comes in all forms. By definition, it includes anything that is not intended as part of the original appearance at the time that it was made. Hence, any change in its intended appearance, whether man-made or natural, is fair game for an iART certified professional. Examples of some surface or topical damages are chemical staining from improper cleaning processes. Stainless steel is a very durable metal, yet it's reactive to chemical cleaners, hand oils, airborne contaminants, and more. Also, acid discoloration from acid cleaners, such as grout and marble floor cleaners. These acid-based products can settle onto the stainless steel and cause rusting spots. This can occur even if the acid does not come in contact with the metal. Rather, its vapors become airborne and settle onto metal surfaces feet away and eventually attack the stainless steel. Abrasive cleaning materials. This creates light surface damage. Abrasive scruff pads and abrasive cleaners, while not following the direction of the grain, will cause light visible scratches requiring refinishing. Other damage type can have combined surface and fingernail grabbing. One such is an operational. This is a door tracking issue. This door track is set by the installation company. If the alignment gets knocked out, the continuous movement of the doors will create a horizontal line pattern where the grain rubs here, and we can fix this. There's also the human unintentional contact. Push carts, suitcases, briefcases, purses. They scratch against the doors and the jambs, and they cause a line or scratch. The final type is almost always fingernail grabbing. Human intentional contact, graffiti vandalism. Of all the scratches that deserve the most and require the most competent of repairs is graffiti. Often created by knives and sharp tools, graffiti is often the deepest of the scratches and usually of the fingernail grabbing type. Now let me introduce you to our proprietary arsenal of tools, abrasives, and chemicals we use to fix any challenge. To fix any type of issue on brushed number 4 stainless steel, we use specialized cleaning and proprietary restoration products invented by me and developed by our sister company, Barry's Restore It All Products. I am the inventor of Scratch Be Gone. It's been used by thousands of people over thousands of times to restore scratch-damaged stainless steel to look new again. This is done by using a variety of proprietary chemicals and abrasive materials specialized to clean and recut the surface of stainless steel. Let's meet your tools. We have a variety of pads. These are specialty pads. This is our light duty pad. This is our little more aggressive. When we're dealing with deep scratch repair, we have a mineralized embedded pad here, and we have a finger strip, all of which will be demonstrated later. We have the true metal test strip, and we have our ergonomic designed comfort grip handle. When coming to electrified tools, we have a variable speed motorized wheel, and then we have what we call for heavy deep scratches, Big Bertha. variable speed diaphragm inflatable for deep scratches. Our secret sauce, Ultra Shine, is both a lubricant for abrasive cutting edges and oxidant agent to speed color restoration to newly restored areas, thus allowing for localized repair. We also have blue tape and paper and other things in our toolbox. All right, now we're going to explore our scratch repair playbook. The first thing we do in a sequence whenever we deal with stainless steel is we want to make sure that it's not a coated surface. Make sure it doesn't have a lacquer. In case of elevators, whether it has a coated surface from Vandal Shield. We have the True Metal test strip, which is in our kit. We take this, we rub it against the surface. It turns black. That tells me that this surface is a non-coated surface. So I'm good to go. If that had stayed clear, I would stay clear. That would be an indicator that there's a coating. Now the next thing we want to do is determine the depth of our scratch. I suggest everybody on this film get their fingernail insured by Lloyd's of London, because this is probably the most valuable piece of your body right here that tells you how much you're going to make. You take your finger and you go across the scratch. Hear that noise? That tells you that it's a deep scratch. This one happened to be made by a knife. So we're going to remediate that over here on an elevator. But in the meantime, that tells us that we're going to have to use a certain kind of abrasive process. When you hear that kind of a sound, we know automatically we're going to our deep scratch selection of pads. So we're going to now identify the pads that we're going to use. When we have a scratch like this, if we're going to remove that manually, we're going to go to our finger strip, which is a coarse abrasive strip. We're going to follow that up with this larger pad with mineral built in. At this time, we're going to introduce the Ultra Shine, which is our secret sauce. And without demonstrating, I'm going to show you here. When we put this on here, this acts as a lubricant, but also as an oxidizing agent to colorize the repaired surface. The next thing that's important after we've decided what pads we're going to use is the direction of the grain. So the direction of a grain on an elevator, majority of direction of grain is going up and down. On your doors, your returns, your COPs, your control panel areas, the grain is going vertical. The transom overhead is going horizontal. Another option that we have is that we have a motorized solution to this problem, and we'll be demonstrating this as well. Okay, so here we are. We're going to do some live demonstrations. You're going to be able to walk this process with us, and you're going to see in real time how long it takes to remove some of these scratches. What we're going to be doing now is, I have behind me Andrew Winnett, who is a former student, graduate, and now works with our company, and an exemplary of the scratch repair process. What we're looking at now is the staining, and is the least problematic of all the problems associated with stainless steel. This is a very traditional process. We're going to take a product called Barkeeper's Friend. It's a very basic product. It's oxalic acid. And what he's going to do is he's going to put some moisture on the towel, which he's already done. He's going to put some of the dry powder on, and he's going to work up over this surface to remove this discoloration. Oxalic acid cleans stainless steel. That's what it's designed to do, and it puts a fresh new look on it. You see he's using a nubby towel, a nubby terry cloth towel, as opposed to a microfiber. And as well, he's going in the grain direction. This is very important. Grain direction in this case, again, is up and down, vertical. If there was a buildup on the towel, if there was an imperfection in the towel, if there was something stuck inside the towel, and if he went in a circle motion or a cross grain motion, he could conceivably scratch this. So he's making good progress. Add a little bit more. If he could show the tarnish that he's removing on the stain, you can see it on the towel. So Barkeeper's is a very effective for taking off discoloration stains. There'll be 2 applications here, and then what you'll do is you'll wash it off with fresh water, preferably distilled water, and then dry it, and we should be good. Okay, I'm going to take some fresh water. Bring out the towel. You notice he's doing long, nice, clean strokes, uniform strokes, not the stop-start kind of agitation. It's important that you wash off the oxalic acid after we're done. Otherwise, it can, over an hour or two, it can start discoloring the metal if left on. So he's drying it, and then he's going to air dry it with his own technique. There we go. This is a pretty straightforward process. It gets wondrous results. Now we're going to move on to the deep scratch repair. This is what you would see of a vandalism from an aggressive etching tool, somebody who is serious intent on damaging this metal. When you're working with motorized machines, which we're going to be doing in a second, all these want to make sure that we have our safety aspects in place. So we have a mask, we have our eye protection, and we use gloves just for safekeeping. So we're going to be pulling up our industrial tool here. We call this the Bertha. She's a large beast of a machine. She has aggressive wheel on a diaphragm, so the diaphragm allows it to flex and work over the surface and float over the surface. And again, we identify the grain direction as up and down pattern. So all the movements that Andrew's going to be doing are going to be up and down and making sure that the wheel is keeping parallel with the inherent grain. Otherwise, we're going to create problems. We're going to create our own more scratches going sideways. All right, let's see how this is. And what he's looking for is the light refraction into these scratch areas to see if there's anything residual. He has to look from different angles in order to see if he's seeing the entirety of the scratch. But I think he's pretty darn close. And a lot of this can be finished out by hand now, and then he can also go back if he needs to. So the importance of what you saw is that the wheel and the machine have to be kept straight, It's running at about 600 RPM, so it's running at high volume speed. This is a very particular process, but what he's doing is he's cutting up the scratch. So we don't have to go to the bottom of the scratch when repairing stainless steel in a satin finish. We just have to break it up into small fragments. So by doing that, now he's going to blend it all in. Using the Ultra Shine, he's going to add it to our workhorse pad, the brown pad I demonstrated earlier, showed you earlier. He makes an S pattern on the pad. Now he's going to hold the handle sideways and go up and down. And what this process is doing is the oxidation process from the chemical, and it's also helping with finalizing the grain finish and straighten it out. If you look at the top of where he's working, that discoloration is actually the oxidized material as he's putting color back on the repair. We don't have to use too much of the Ultra Shine. It goes a long way. Stainless steel is non-porous, so it's not going to absorb into the metal. So what he's doing now again is adding the coloration back to the repair. So by doing this, we can now have a localized repair. We don't have to do all the doors and all the other surrounding materials to make it match color. Keep in mind, any part of that vandalism that we approached just now, that we took care of, any part of that would have been an objection by a property owner or by an elevator company. So any part of that would have had to been resolved through this method. The fact that he resolved quite a space, and pretty arguably very well, is a testament to the Scratch Be Gone process. A commercially available product called Sheila Shine. Stainless steel likes to be oiled. This is a perfectly good oil. So we're going to give this to Andrew to spray on to the towel. So he'll spray it on his towel. That way he control any drips and streaks. Just a little bit, and then he's going to wipe that area down. Just a little bit goes a long way. But that gives it a nice final finish blend. And there you have it. We let it dry for a little bit, and then you buff it dry at the end. All right, now we're going to address a common problem associated with the exteriors of doors, but also on the inside, is the tracking issue we spoke about earlier. So if you have a door adjustment that's out of alignment, and imagine that this door opens up and continues to open and close on a frequent basis, and let's say there's something inside the housing that this is coming across and rubbing against, it creates a track line. We identify the track line because it's an absolutely horizontal scratch line. It doesn't have wave patterns. It's an absolute straight, so you recognize that it's a continuous one motion. So we're going to address this right now, and we're going to use our medium grade electrical tool, which is a right angle close quarter drill, variable speed. We control the speed with our thumb. And we have a drum roll on the outside, a drum wheel, that is going to now erase this by imparting new scratch grain. Again, we have our eyewear, we have our mask, we have our gloves whenever working with motorized machinery. Okay, let's see how successful we are. So far, we've seen again the importance of running the drum wheel in parallel with the existing grain that we want to create. So therefore, that's why the wheel had to be in that position. Now, you also notice we didn't use the ultrashine when using motorized materials because obviously the chemical would spit and flow everywhere. So that part is done dry. And now we're going to introduce the ultrashine with, again, our brown pad in this case to blend in the scratch repair that was done with the wheel. We purposely left a tab on both sides so you can see where it was, and we're going to continue making the remediation. Recognize, obviously, that if we continued to each extreme end, we would have this whole line disappear. So again, if you're looking at the top above his head, you see the discoloration of the chemical. That's the oxidation process taking place. So it's reacting with the metal. It's causing a warming effect of the color. It doesn't go to a black, it just gives it that warm edge. You wipe it off and it blends in. Ultrashine is a non-toxic, a non-polluting product. It's a non-corrosive, it's non-flammable. It's a very effective cleaner and producer of what we're looking at here. Now he's taken our brown pad with the Scratch Be Gone system. These pads are built with minerals embedded into them. They're specialized pads. They're not your traditional Scotch-Brite or non-woven pad that you find on the market here. Just going to do some final detailing, and then I'll follow up at the end with the Sheila Shine like before. Now he takes the Sheila Shine, and we'll do a final draping of that. Stainless likes to be oiled, gives it a healthy sheen. It also helps in the last bit of cleaning for us. And there you have it. We'll detail out during the course of the job and make sure it all blends and is final. Now, obviously, if we wouldn't leave it like this, we would do the whole door and then treat it with the Sheila Shine at the end. All right, now we're going to address a light scratch repair. This kind of problem is problematic. It's very common when using like a Scotch-Brite material, a non-woven, and you're just doing cleaning indirectly. Instead of going with the grain, had the repair been done with the grain or the cleaning, it may not be a problem. Once it goes off grain, then we have this issue. So we're going to resolve this now using our gray pad in our kit. Again, our pads are specially made with mineral abrasives that cut metal. So we're going to apply, we've already done the Ultrashine, which is this white material, and he's going to go up and down the grain direction. And again, you can see at the top of where he's working, you can see that blackness. That's the oxidation process taking place with the Ultrashine. The grits in the pad will effectively break up the scratch pattern and fragment it so that your eye doesn't see it anymore and puts the grain back into direction. So you saw that he did around 10 to 20 revolutions, and then he stopped, wiped his area, double-checked his solution there, and then he went back at it again. Each time he's going to be erasing more of the scratch. And if you find out that this process with this gray pad is not working as readily as you want, It may be that the aggressiveness on the green pad or other pads might have been more aggressive than we first thought. We could always go to the brown pad that we demonstrated earlier and use that one first, and then head back to the gray pad as our final finish, which would be our number 4 finish. So again, what he's doing is he's checking from different directions because light hits the surface from different angles and will reveal different things. So he determined that the gray was not working to his satisfaction. Maybe it was getting to 90% and leaving a little bit of scratch line behind. So he went to the brown pad, which he had already loaded on his handle. And now he went back to the gray pad to final finish it. All right, he thinks we're ready for the reveal. Wiping in one direction with the Sheila Shine, cleaning off his workspace. Then he's going to go back afterwards and dry buff it, get the oil off. We look forward to spending time with you when you come to our school. We look forward to also sharing our technology and our talent skills with you. Thank you for your time. We'll see you soon.